In this week's parasha, the Torah describes a very tragic episode. The rebellion of Korach, a cousin of Moshe, against the authority of Moshe and Aaron. And try as he might, Moshe is not able to stop the rebellion. And Hashem causes a miraculous event to take place. The ground opens, there's an incredible earthquake, and Korach and all of his followers are swallowed up in the ground. And our sages tell us something very interesting in Pirkei Avot. They say that when God was creating the world, on each of the days he created something. On day 1, on day 2, day 3. When it came to Friday, as Friday was coming to an end and the sun was setting, it was Bein Hashmashot, it was during the twilight hours, Hashem created a number of very unique items. And one of the items that he created was Pi Haaretz, the mouth of the ground that would open up and consume Korach and his followers. What else did he create at this time? He created the staff of Moses, the staff that he would use to perform the miracles, the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea. He created Pi Ha'aton. He created the mouth of the donkey that would speak to Bilam. He created the Chamor, the donkey that Avraham would use and eventually the Mashiach would use. He created the Mazikin. This is understood to be unusual creatures, demons, and a number of other things that were created during this twilight period. What is the meaning of this? And the Rambam Maimonides tells us something quite incredible. He says that Hashem does not change, and that Hashem created the world to function al pi seder, in a correct order, and never to change that order. But we see there's miracles. We see that the sea splits and the mouth of the ground opens up to swallow out Korach. So that's not following a normal natural order. So says the Rambam that this is what the Mishnah is coming to tell us, that God pre-programmed these miracles into nature, that they were there from the very beginning. That's why he had to create them at that particular time. And another example of this, although it's not one of the items mentioned in the Mishnah, is the splitting of the sea. And it's interesting that when the Torah describes the splitting of the sea, it says that Moshe held up his arms, the sea split, Bnei Yisrael, the Israelites came through on dry land, and then afterwards he held up his hand, he held up his staff, and he caused the waters to come back. And the Torah uses the wording, it came back la'etano, to its full strength. La'etano, from the word eitan, which means power and strength. But the sages tell us a play on words. La'etano, if you rearrange those letters, it spells litna'or. Litna'or means to its condition. God had made a condition with the waters right at the beginning of creation that they would split when the Jewish people needed it to split. So the Rambam believes that God does not change his mind. He does not change nature. And when we think that nature is changing, it's not so. It's really that miracle was pre-programmed into the world. The Maharal takes a different view. And he says, he disagrees with this. He says there's no such concept that God cannot change nature. He can change nature. Why then does the Mishnah articulate those particular items that were created at twilight? He says the main focus is to tell us not so much that those things were created at the beginning of creation, but the focus is when were they created? They were created at twilight between Friday and Shabbat. That means that because they're in twilight, they're part of the week, they're part of nature, but they're also part of Shabbat. They're in between this world. They are things that are physical, but they are miraculous at the same time. A donkey is a physical thing, but a donkey speaking is not a physical thing. The staff of Moses is a physical rod, but it's not a physical rod. It has spiritual powers. An earthquake is a physical thing, but that it should happen in particularly that way, that is not a physical thing, that is a spiritual thing. So according to the Maharal, what the sages are teaching us is that there are certain items in this world that are somewhere between the physical and the spiritual. They occupy both places. But not to say that God had to pre-program all of the miracles into the world. So whether we follow the opinion of the Rambam or whether we follow the opinion of the Maharal, but what we see very clearly from this incident of Korach is the destructive power of machloket, of division, of rebellion against true Torah authority. And what can happen? That Hashem is prepared even to cause a miracle to occur to make sure that there should be peace amongst the Jewish people. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.